All eyes on the president today as he wrapped up the final day of his national tour. Obama announcing another giveaway of your taxpayer dollars, free community college. We're getting right to the outrage tonight with David Rehr, a media and business professor at George Washington University, Steve Moore, the chief economist at the Heritage Foundation and a Fox News contributor, and Rob Franek, senior vice president of publishing at the Princeton Review. David, I'm going to start with you. So the president basically says if you can maintain a 2.5 GPA at a community college, that is, if you can fog a mirror, you can get 2 years of free college. And I started thinking about this when I heard this morning. Who's going to benefit from this? Where does this proposal come from?
Right. Well, of course, community colleges benefit because the supply of students might go up. But there are states all across the country that already have these types of incentives, like Tennessee, where the president made the announcement today. And it's not clear that the students are actually benefiting from lower tuition costs.
Well, I got to tell you, apparently, this organization of community colleges pitched this very idea down to the last comma, the last period. This comes, in other words, sort of from the industry. This is what they want, right? And I'm sure this is really going to appeal to middle America, but, I mean, come on. They're just repurposing somebody's suggestion. Steve, to you. I'm all about the taxpayer dollars this week. You know, the president, he was in Detroit. He was saying, you know, Jerry, that bailout of the auto industry, that was the best thing ever, $80 billion. Yeah. Now we've got a backup of the housing industry he's talking about. And now this. What is this going to cost?
Well, you know, Milton Friedman is famous for saying there ain't no such thing as a free lunch, and I hate to say it, but ain't no such thing as free community college.
No.
Just as you said, somebody has to pay for it, and that will be taxpayers. Now, I got to say this, Jerry, I'm actually a big fan of community colleges. I think a lot of them do a fantastic job of preparing people for the workforce and a lot of needed skills. But the idea of making it free, it doesn't appeal to me at all, and here's why. What we have seen in so many instances with all of the student loans and all the grants and all the aid that we provided to colleges is it basically, what do colleges do when you give them more free aid and scholarship?
They
just raise the tuition. Exactly.
They raise the tuition.
That's what's going to happen here.
I think you're absolutely right. It's going to put a floor under the price tag for these community colleges, and it's only going to go up, up, up. Now, Rob, you say, and you're an expert on education, and you know all about, you say, theoretically, you think this could be a good idea. Why?
Oh, I think the whole idea of adding to the discussion of college, making college accessible to more and more students, an estimated 9 million students could profit from this, is a great exercise. However, as you're asking the question, the $64,000 question, who is going to pay for it? But it's the question that students and parents are asking as well. They're sitting down looking at college costs. We've talked about this in the past, Jerry, going up and up and up. And then we have a little bit of salvation here, whether it's going to pass or not, who knows? But it adds to that discussion and brings it to the table right now.
Well, it's all about the conversation. David, is that you? I can't see you.
It's me, Steve. And I just wanted to make a quick point that it's never really worked because what's happened over and over again is that tuitions rise. And so college hasn't become more affordable to people. And by the way, I want to make another point. I think it's important for families and students to have some skin in the game. You know, that they actually do pay something. They're going to get more out of it rather than it's just a free good.
Well, that's exactly where I was going to go next to you, David, which is if you don't pay for it and you only have to have a 2.5 GPA, why would you work hard? I mean, even today, people who go through and get a 4-year degree, employers are complaining that these people don't know anything and that they're not prepared for the workforce.
Right. If something is free, you value it at almost nothing.
Right.
The average tuition for a community, and I, like Steve and Ron, support community colleges, it's $10.41 a day for the average tuition to go to a community college. That's 2 coffees you don't have at Starbucks in order to get an education and then gain between $2,000 and $4,000 a year extra in the workplace.
So, Rob, to you, I mean, I out there in this category that are doing a great job. Rehr, for example, they tailor their curriculum to what employers need. They get kids, you know, on a track to get a job, make money. It's great stuff. But they've always sort of been a second-class citizen. And, Rob, even you don't, you know, you guys aren't reviewing these schools, right? So doesn't that wouldn't that further push down the way they're regarded in society? Oh, that's the free school. Don't hire him. He went to the free school. Won't we think about them differently?
Well, I hope that we do think about them differently. And you're right. We have been writing at Princeton Review about four-year colleges, certainly on the graduate school side of the fence, haven't been writing as much on the two-year associate's degree granting schools, except through this channel, thinking about those associate's degrees leading into bachelor's degrees. What are the four-year universities?
Rob, people are already doing that. I mean, people are already doing 2 years at the community college as a way of getting into the four-year institution. Why do we need the government involved in this?
Well, I hear you. I think it's going to provide better access, but I totally understand the point. And thinking about the aid dollars that exist right now, Pell Grants right now, $5,700 maximum Pell. There are state aids. There's tuition tax credits for students and families. There are great things to cover moderate tuition.
I'm going to get back to you on Pell Grants in a minute, but I want to ask Steve this. So how's the president going to pull this off? So they're talking about $3,800 a year. Is this an executive order? Do they go to Congress?
Well, I wouldn't put it past him to try to do it with the executive pen, because he does everything now that way. But I think he will need, obviously, congressional approval, because this would be a massive expenditure of taxpayer dollars. So I think, and I don't see a Republican Congress saying, yeah, let's give everybody college free. I got to tell you, Jerry, I think I've told you this before. My oldest son goes to Northwestern, $58,000 a year. I mean, it's the cost of these universities is the biggest scam in America. And the problem is, what I would like President Obama to say is, let's start looking under the hood. Let's start demanding some accountability at these universities to see how they're spending the money. And that's what nobody in the ivory towers wants. They're terrified of that.
I agree. I agree. You might get some pushback from Rob. David, quickly.
Yeah, quickly, this is the fourth time President Obama has pushed some version of free tuition at community colleges. Bipartisan Congresses during his first 4 years have pushed back, so this is going to be pretty much dead on arrival.
DOA. Okay, guys. David, Steve, and Rob, great job. You guys were all a great compliment. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. Have a great weekend. And, of course, now we want to know what you think. Here's our question tonight. Should taxpayers send kids to college for free? Should that happen? I don't know. Log on to jerrywillis.com. Vote on the right-hand side of the screen. I'll share the results at the end of tonight's show.